This lesson is creating HTML dynamically with string concatenation. The objectives for this lesson are to investigate two distinct techniques for dynamically inserting HTML into a web page. You're going to create HTML through string concatenation. You'll also create HTML using String.concat. There are a few different methods to dynamically add HTML to a page. You can do string concatenation, a couple different ways to do that. You can use template literals. You can also use a templating engine like Mustache or Handlebars. Each has its own benefits and drawbacks. So the problems with string concatenation in JavaScript is long lines of code cannot be broken into multiple lines. That means constant scrolling horizontally to see the entire line. All the text within the string is a single color, so it's hard to identify what the different parts of the elements are. That can lead to more bugs. To add variables into the line, you must use the plus sign. That means that things are being concatenated all the time. And strings in JavaScript are immutable, which means the string is constantly being moved to a new location. That can lead to some performance problems. There's also no IntelliSense, so that means you're relying on your typing skills within these strings to get everything right. Also, if double and single quotes are required within the string, you need to escape one or the other. It's hard to read and debug when everything's just in a single string. Let's take a look at generating HTML using string concatenation. In this HTML page, if we come down here within the script, you'll see I've created a literal object here on line 22 through 31. I've got a film ID, I've got a name, and I have a build HTML method that I've created here. And if we look, it returns on line 29, it returns. Then you can see I've got some HTML in here. Input, type equals text, ID equals movie name equals movie name, value equals, and then a single quote, and then I'm concatenating on this dot name, and then I close the input element. So the problem is it looks okay when you're looking at it like this, but we're actually missing a single quote right here. So what happens is if I call that and I try to put that into some inner HTML, as you can see on line 34, what's going to happen? If we open up the browser here, okay, we don't see anything. Okay, that's a big problem. If I were to go back here and fix this, like so, and save that, come back here, now we can see that the input shows up. But that's a very hard bug to find. When you're in a string, you don't get IntelliSense, and there is no color coding within the string. Now, if I were to take this HTML and put it up here, now we get this nice IntelliSense here, right? So if I miss this, like that, a little easier to see that I've missed something here because we got all these nice different colors for everything if you're using a really good coding editor. You can also dynamically create HTML with the String.concat method. With this, it makes it a little easier to break long lines onto separate lines. We can eliminate that horizontal scrolling, which is nice, but we're still not getting any color coding, so it still can be a little bit harder to read and debug. Still has some performance issues, but maybe not as bad as doing, string concatenation all over the place. These are some things we'll take a look at, so let's take a look at generating HTML using String.concat. In this HTML page, you can see I've got the same movie object literal with the film ID and name. I've still got that same build HTML method here where I'm now using String.concat. Now, as you can see, I'm able to break things over, a few lines, so that makes things a little bit easier to see and read, but I still don't get the nice color coding like I do when it's just simply in the main body of the HTML. But this one still works. If we run this, if I've done everything correctly, that is, it works. You still have that potential to leave something off. And again, it's kind of hard to read. You might not notice it right away. So when you get an empty here, you're like, whoa, what happened? You can bring up the console window and it's not really telling you anything because technically there's no error here. Everything is so dynamic, it doesn't know that you've misplaced a single quote. So in this lesson, we saw the problems with string concatenation. We used the plus sign for concatenation, and we also used the String.concat method. This is not typically the way you want to be building dynamic HTML. That's what we're going to solve with the rest of this module. So coming up next, let's take a look at the next way to do it, and that's creating HTML dynamically with template literals.